Thank you very much. In reclaiming my time, I'd like to now yield to the gentleman from Dayton, Ohio, Mike Turner.
Thank you, Chairman Chavez, and thank you for hosting this important opportunity for us to come to the House floor to speak about our good friend, Steve LaTourette. Ohio has lost a great advocate and a public servant. And to Jennifer and to Mr. LaTourette's children, I want to add my voice and comments to those who have spoken before. We've heard words such as bipartisan, mentor, substantive, inspirational, and fighter. And I want to add my voice to underscore how those words were so important in this body and so important for the legacy of Steve LaTourette. On bipartisan, as we all know, standing outside off the House chamber is the Speaker's lobby where the press stands. And I was stopped many times by the press asking me this simple question. The press would approach and say that they had been speaking to the members of the House and asking them who is the most bipartisan member of the House. And frequently, on both sides, people would mention Steve LaTourette, and they would want to know how he did that and how he would accomplish that. Where is the work that would have a member be identified as the most bipartisan? But we all knew it to be true, whether it be on substantive issues reaching across the aisle or was right. Steve looked not at what side of the aisle people were on, but what was the outcome, and everyone in this body saw it. Mentor, like Bill Johnson, I came here having not served in the legislature before. Steve LaTourette was willing to sit down, assist me in understanding how this body works, how an office works, how to make certain that you're successful, and how Congress operates and how a new member can become an important part of it. Substantive. Congressman Pat Tiberi was saying at this corner over here was Steve LaTourette's. But what's important about that corner, not just that Steve LaTourette there, but the line of people that would form to speak to Steve, because they were seeking that bipartisan voice, his mentoring, but also his substantive comments. Steve LaTourette was always the individual who knew more about what was happening on this floor across all subjects than anyone else. It wasn't just his committee or his bills. It was everything that was going on. He knew what was happening, and he had advice for everyone who would stop by to take it. Inspirational. Steve always had a cause. When you would stop by and talk to him, it wasn't just what was happening on the House floor. It was what other issue needed to be addressed, what other issue needed to be righted, and he would call many people to the cause of for that inspiration. And he was a fighter. He was always on the right side. Marcy Kaptur was speaking about the fight of BRAC. When Ohio was facing a BRAC and we had many military facilities that were at risk, DFAS and NASA in Cleveland were facing significant cuts and effects to them. NASA would have been secondarily affected by the cuts in the Department of Defense. Steve LaTourette singularly stood forward and went directly to the data the Department of Defense was using, substantively attacked it, substantively repackaged it, and won on the argument that these facilities needed not to be closed or impacted, but they needed to be sustained. It was that fighter aspect, it was that substantive aspect allowed him to be successful and allowed him to be a leader for many. He will be strongly missed, but by all those who had an opportunity to learn from him and his mentorship, he lives on in the inspiration he has provided to us in do the right thing, work hard, substantively focus, and make certain that you work and honor all of the members of the body of Congress, not just those who are of your party.